Hello, everybody. Welcome back to another Regular Talk podcast. This time, we're going back in time to talk about TEW 2016, Great Dog Software's new affiliate program that I am a part of, by the way. I'm officially glad and proud to announce that for all the years I've been playing that game, all the fun I've had in that game, and hopefully you guys who like the wrestling will be able to see a different world than the 3D realm, I guess you would say, of or 2D realm for like Fire Pro and WWE. This is more text based, more in depth when it comes. I would say it's essentially GM mode on steroids. But the friend that I bring with me today is the one that it started with way back, probably 3 or 4 years ago, I'd have to say, when we were doing a little TNA series. Back when it was called TNA, fun fact too. That's how long it's been before all the name changes. I started off, did one video by myself, and then since then he was on probably like 100 or 200 of them. Zach, how you doing, bud?
I'm really upset you didn't mention the greatest accomplishment of my career of TEW today.
Yeah, there's a bunch.
Mr.
The
Best
pigeon.
of the Bookers.
Ah,
You know, many people know that one.
that's true. Yeah, we did a. We'll get into a whole bunch of stuff for TW. This is just gonna be the TW episode, just you and I. It's only fitting. Yeah, we did a little tournament. Uh, let's see.
2 years? 3 years ago?
It was 2 years ago. It was yeah, I think it was 2 years ago. It might have been three
One of
years
them.
ago, honestly.
I
It
shouldn't
was
tell you.
Travis, you, Mia, Nate, Malin, Shane, I think Chris, the whole bunch of people. Was it 16 people or 8 people? We
I
had
think it
a
was. I think it was 8 because it was. We had to book I think it was WCW. Or
yeah,
no, it might have been 16 because there was a good bit we had to book. Cause we had to
yeah,
book. I think WCW. We had to book TNA. We had to book WWF. We had to book ECW.
yeah. There was WCW, ECW. I think like modern
I
day
think Attitude Era
Attitude
WWF.
Era, Ruthless Aggression. There was Ruthless Aggression in there. I know that one.
Yeah,
Um,
I don't think it was Attitude Era. I think it was Ruthless Aggression.
there was a bunch, and basically whoever got the best score wins. And you would tell your little story of how you did your show differently than someone else's, and even though you might have had the storyline better show, it wasn't always the best booked show. Just by luck. Also, the game is truly about luck and statistics. I'll say that. Um, but yeah, how would you say jumping from 2013 to 2016? Like, how do you think the jump has been for you? Because for me, to make it real short, the modding community wasn't as strong in 2016 as it was in 2013.
Oh yeah,
Um, However, I don't know. I felt like I had just as much fun in 2016, but I felt like maybe because the game's been out so long, all these years now, um,
it has been.
I've kind of just done everything. You know,
Yeah,
I'm kind of running out of stuff to do, and we've
I do think that has a
done a
lot to
lot.
do with the limited mod community this year.
Hmm.
So that's definitely put a big damper into it because last year we had our modern day. Last year we had the 9,000. So we had a bunch of like alternative time mods. We had
We had
just a
the mod
bunch of good
squad.
stuff. Yeah,
Yeah, they
and the mod squad, while they were supposed to do a lot of crazy awesome stuff this year, and
still waiting on some to
it
repug,
seems like
but
it seems they still talk like it's planned, but I'm not sure.
nah, it's probably not. I will say this though, for TW to have backwards compatibility is phenomenal because you can take a mod from 2010. That's around the time period you want to book because
Mhm.
there's seven. I think what was it, like 75, 85, all of the 90s, and then somewhere between like 2000 to 2006, you just start losing like 2007, 2008, 2009, 2010. Like those become like really hard to find. But if you play TW 2010, you can easily import 2010, 11, and 12. And then from 2013, 13, 14, 15, 16, beyond. So there's a couple, like, I would say missing years, like 2007, 8, 9.
Yeah.
But there's still a lot of good stuff happening in wrestling. But even then, that's when, like, my peak of wrestling was starting to fall
Hmm.
off, before it was coming back around in 2011 because of Summer Punk and stuff like that going on. So,
And that's a mod that we all want. I don't know anybody that didn't want that mod.
yeah, and you can kind of replicate that with the 2010 version of it. Uh, but each
Yeah.
each database is different. I think you and I definitely have seen that. Not all databases are built the same. You have um, some, like in the Who's, where it has just tons of wrestlers everywhere, but the stats, because there's so many people, you can't um, distribute
You
them.
can't get to everybody.
Yeah. So there's just a base, line for everybody. And then there's in the earlier games, 2010, 2013, I would say that's when WWE would be global. People would put them in like global, international,
Well, I think
barely you'll see them anything past national now on most databases.
the older games, at least, I feel like the popularity has really shifted upwards in terms of what global and international and that kind of stuff means.
Means, yeah. I guess because we have the broadcaster too, so like you have to add that element there where 2013 you just had to really grind on your broadcaster that was available. Or 2016 you can just make your own and boom, you're skyrocketing. You can have your B show, feature
Yeah.
everything. Yeah, but what did you say has probably been the favorite series that we've done together? Because we've done a lot of series together, not only on the YouTubes, on Twitch and Facebook Live and all that, and then even just some playing around.
Hmm.
What would you say?
I think recently it was that I think it was ECW, the Impact, and New Japan that we did. That was the little private save we did with me, you, and Lane. That was good. I like
Mm.
that.
I would say my
But that's like recently. I have
yeah.
a bunch of like the group save we did. It was me and Brian versus Chris. That was a lot of fun.
I don't know if there's any footage of our ECW New Japan Impact
I don't
thing,
I don't think we ever did any like recording with
which is
that.
really it's crazy because we got really far into it.
And
Like
yeah,
we probably got
it's
three or
it's a
four.
rare occasion that we
We got 3 or 4
got really
years.
far
Yeah.
into a TW save without a single episode.
Um, I don't know if that's a good or bad thing, but there was a lot of just crazy, great stuff that happened in there. Um, but I'd say probably my favorite save for us. Um, I'd take it back to probably the Begoverse, honestly, because there was a lot. We played that for a while too. That was another like
Googleverse.
maybe a year and a half worth in game, where we'd have 2 shows. It was a brand split for Impact and just so much like craziness. I did like the TW like nonsense, um, like Impact, like with
Mhm.
Conan drive by and uh, AJ Reed and Virgil being best friends and just all that craziness. That was fun too. But I think for how much we did in that Begover save and how wacky it got on stream was so much fun.
I didn't really have anything to do with the Googleverse to my memory. I was on for like a few episodes, but
Hmm.
nothing crazy.
I think it's crazy that you didn't mention our TNA save the first one we ever did
You know,
way
I
back in
I was going.
2014.
I feel like that needs its own minute to talk about
Yeah, so
because that's what started this mess.
we played TW 2005 and then we played I think we might have played 2010 or we
No, I
might
think
I think we just
I
jumped.
think we went right to 2013.
Yeah, so a good friend of ours, Chris Knox, was like, "Hey, have y'all tried this wrestling game?" Because at the time we were doing the e-fetting thing, and he was using that to simulate matches. Because at the time, it actually write out the match. It wouldn't be like John Cena hits an attitude adjustment, wins in 4 minutes. No, it'd be like goes back to Extreme Warfare, Revenge, and all that EWR.
Yeah.
It'd actually be like, you know,
And I
John
still play
Cena
that.
hit a clothesline, and yeah, it's good. But it's definitely a way farther throwback, in time.
Yeah, that's like I want to say it's like late '90s, early
Yeah,
2000s. That game.
you could still have a lot of enjoyment and fun out of it, especially because people still mod it and keep it up to
Hmm.
date. If you want something where you can find probably every year, ever to man, that's the one to go for.
Yeah.
2005, maybe, but the problem with that is that 2005 is not compatible, backwards compatible, because you have to go from 2010, 2013 to 2016 for compatibility. So all the 2005 stuff you can't get your hands on, which is really sad because there's a lot of good 2005 stuff. But the game mechanics have changed. They've made it a little bit more simpler. The game was a lot more complex. You needed writers,
It
managers,
was
producers, the whole nine
complex.
yards.
It was complex, but it was easier, I think,
You needed storylines
in a
also.
way.
Yeah, now you can kind of play more sandboxy if you wanted to, or you could still do realistic. Um, we've played a good bit of multiplayer games, but we'll talk about the TNA thing for a bit. So,
Yeah.
yeah, we jumped to 2013, we'll say that. And then probably a year after 2014, this was when we actually got into 2013, I believe. Um, we did TNA save right off the bat. I don't think there's anything else. Maybe 9000 verse, which we took a look at for a bit. But 9000 verse, or TNA save for TEW 2013 was 100 plus 200 episodes,
Oh my God, I
um,
couldn't even tell you.
on the Lost Cast channel way back. But at the same time, like, they weren't. This was 2014 quality, by the way.
The
So
quality of the videos weren't very good. There was a lot of
the videos were kind of stretched
interesting.
out. Sometimes there'd be error. Like, this is before OBS for me. This was
What were you
Bandicam.
using? Cracked Bandicam?
This is Bandicammed. Um, thanks, Haig. So I give him the thanks for Bandicam.
Yeah,
And
right.
then I think we might have used Fraps honestly for a little bit too, but
I can't tell you.
Bandicam
We
I think
switched
was
through
the
so
main.
many things to record with.
It was just the time. I don't know if I just didn't know what OBS was or wasn't using it or what for
Yeah.
that time period. And this is way like right now I'm using OBS Studio, and that's original OBS time. Um, but and I had one monitor, so that was another thing too. Yeah. Um, but we did Impact, we did Explosion. I don't think we ever did a second um brand. I think it was always just those two
Yeah.
shows, but Explosion was sometimes booked as important as Impact, even though it was never an official
That's
second
because
brand.
back then people took the because we just like started playing TW. We learned about the capabilities of it, and everybody that could book would book everything to their heart's content. You'd have TNA World Heavyweight Championship matches on Explosion every single week to try and get the belt off of
Yeah,
Jeff Hardy.
and we never picked the winner. That was the thing. We never picked
That
the winner.
was that save formulated how I play TW because I will not pick a winner unless it's for a story.
We always had like special guests on, and then they would like it'd be interesting to see where somebody would want to shift the story. Um, but yeah, Jeff Hardy, I remember we
He
he
held.
he
I
didn't
think
run
at
rampant.
one point he held every single championship and would not drop a single one.
Taryn Terrell, I think, was another one for
Terrence Terrell held the
knockouts.
Knockouts title for way too long.
Yep. I'm trying to remember like who were some interesting people that jumped off of WWE that we managed to nab. I can't remember anybody honestly. All I know is
Because
that like
back then the mods were weird, so they would immediately release like half their roster. And it
And
was like, all right, I'll nab you, I'll nab you, I'll nab you.
I can tell you this, even if it probably wasn't true, I probably tried to push Chris Sabin or Shelley. I'm trying to think who else. I'm trying to think of who else really was on the Aries, Austin Aries.
I always push Aries no matter what.
I don't think Galloway was there, but Bobby Roode. Styles was, I think Styles is in Japan. I don't remember.
No, yeah, Styles was in Japan
Yeah,
at the
I
time.
think that's why. And this time we didn't really know much about like alliances and all that.
I think in what I don't think we would have been as open to like the concept of all these other wrestling promotions if it wasn't for TEW.
Oh yeah, most definitely. Like, yeah, I wouldn't have known probably 70% of wrestlers, honestly.
Shinsuke Nakamura would have been a "Did you just sneeze in front of me?" name
Yeah,
if I didn't play TEW.
exactly. I can name some really funky names that
Yeah.
wrestling's changed, so most people have kind of heard of these names, but even in
Back then it was really difficult to
even in
like.
TW, you'd be
Yeah.
like, okay, like that's an interesting one.
Like that's Shinyo Hashimoto. I have no clue where he is, but I know his name.
Yeah. I don't know why my mind keeps on going towards AJ Christ because I said AJ Reed, but I'm trying to think of the FMW owner that like CZW just comes to mind. Ricky Shane Page and no, I was gonna say Matt Taven. I guess technically, Leo Rush, and before WWE and all that from through CZW.
Places like All Japan and like that kind of stuff.
Even
AAA
in 2014, like I probably had no idea really.
I had no idea pro wrestling existed outside of the WWE and like honor.
Yeah, and you got to remember too, though, like 2014, Bullet
So
Club,
everything was like closed off to
Bullet
the
Club was
world.
heating up, but it wasn't exploding. Like we really went through a
I think-
period where Impact doesn't get enough credit because Impact was like,
Oh my god.
you could be like, oh yeah, I know what Impact is. It's not WWE, but it's still wrestling. Now it's like, oh yeah, I know what ROH is, and I know what New Japan is because I went to Hot Topic and I got a cool little shirt that said Bullet Club, and then I googled it and I became Bullet Club fan. And there was a certain period of wrestling that I think years down the line from this video recorded in 2018 of November the 15th day, we will look back and say there was an incredible boom of knowledge for wrestling outside of WWE that we just didn't have before. For instance, go back to the 90s, early 2000s, when it was really WCW, ECW, and WWE. However, when it was just WWE, you didn't hear anything about any other companies, but there were still a lot of other companies out there.
When I was a young child,
around.
all I knew was CM Punk, John Cena, WWE.
Alberto Del Rio.
Big Daddy Cool Kevin Nash coming back to beat Smash for no reason.
Let's take a little bit of time to talk about Grey Ox Software's affiliate program. Shout out to them real quick for hooking me up there, especially Arlie. So on Facebook, I forget what I was doing. I think I was doing some college work, and all of a sudden my phone just blew up, and this just I think 3 or 4 people messaged me and mentioned me, and I was like, "What's going on?" Like, because Facebook, like I haven't used it that much recently, and all of a sudden just started blowing up, and I was like, "What's going on?" They're like, "You gotta check this out." With the affiliate program for Gear Dog Software. And I will say, outside of all of the Total Extreme Wrestling games. There's a lot more games I do enjoy from Great Oak Software, so it's not only them. When it comes to a company that I would say is a like retro throwback company to like text-based games and stuff like that, I find them really enjoyable because there's not many of those really left. And I truly mean that from bottom of my heart. And it's not written on a script. I don't have to say that. I'm being honest.
We're not getting paid yet.
Like Comic Book Hero, that was a fun game.
That's a really good game.
I would love to see another Comic Book Hero game. If anyone's listening to this, by the way, straight up, if there's anybody from Grey Dog who's listening to this podcast, make another Comic Book Hero game and adapt it to more of today's standards, where you'd be able to play as the villains and the hero, and kind of not have the game just end when your identity gets released, because I know that was
when you become cripplingly depressed.
Yeah. But it was a really cool game. I love the art for it, especially
oh my God.
I will say this: Great Oak Software has a great modding community that was at one point phenomenal. The reason why I say it's great now is because there's still people who, even when big names and a lot of people shifted away from TEW or just life happens in general, I would say they've wanted to pick up the mantle and try their best to continue on. And I think that definitely speaks towards like a major success of the game, because some games can stand on their own, but some games really need the mod support because there's no way a company like Grey Dog could afford the licensing for WWE, CZW, ROH, TNA, New Japan, AAA, CMLL, House of Hardcore, like all these companies.
For these, like, most mods for Real World have at least 40 promotions.
Yeah, and now back when the game was free, they could do that and they get away with it. However, this isn't the 90s anymore. And there's a lot more stricter copyright laws, no matter your viewpoint on them. But, I think that's where modding is the kind of loophole around the system, honestly, which I'm glad for.
Because you're not paying for their superstars, you're paying for the game. It just so happens there's an ability to have access to those superstars.
And, with Comic Book Hero, I didn't play base. It's kind of like base TW. Like, it's there. It's okay. It's not that bad. I'm not a big fan of it, personally. I don't get wrapped around that world. I think, for me, it's more of that art style isn't my, like, favorite. When I talk about indie games and their art style, I kind of throw back to, there's a game called, like, Three Kingdoms, The Last Warlord. It's by a Chinese company, talking about the Three Kingdoms, the Romance of Three Kingdoms time period, and their art style is more of like portrait, ink style, whereas it kind of feels like MS Paint a little bit for like the base game Cornellverse and stuff like that, or Comic Book Hero. Still nice for some people, and there's reworks of that world in a lot of mods that help to make it better, but for me, I definitely love when they brought in Marvel or DC to Comic Book Hero, for TW bringing in World and throwbacks to like the 90s, alternative mods like 9000 vs Diabloverse. As we're saying this, there's one game that I just keep on trying to think of.
Is it a Grey Dog game?
It's for Grey Dog. We've played it before. It's the MMA one.
World of Mixed
WMA. Yeah, WMA, World of Mixed Martial Arts. And this is where I've actually talked to some people where they're really hoping for a new TW with WMMA 5 concepts. I might have played a brief second of WMMA 5. I'm not a big mixed martial arts like religiously fan as I am with wrestling, but I do like to watch the occasional UFC or Bellator fight. So I think that's pretty cool that they have that game.
As someone who plays WMA, it's a lot of fun because my only complaint with WMA is relatively slow in terms of time.
Yeah.
Where you simulate basically an entire month.
But that's not the the only game they have. I'm gonna read off a couple like other games they have and see if you've played them or if I've played them. So of course there's all the WMMA games, the TW games. There's a bunch. We already talked about most of them. Wrestling Spirit. Here's one that I actually played and really enjoyed. It's where you actually are the wrestler in the world, and I believe this does import to TW. It's a weird concept. I think
it imported to 2010, I believe.
Yeah, Wrestling Spirit 3, which I'm trying to see
You guys,
find when that came out, but
for the longest time, you guys all ripped on me because I thought it was one of the best text-based GDS games ever, and you all ripped on me for it.
I don't remember that, but
I do.
I don't remember.
I remember that
honest.
very.
Yeah, I don't honestly,
very vaguely,
remember.
but I remember it.
But it was really good. Playing as the wrestler. That's the other thing too. Is like most of these games have multiplayer support, which is pretty good. Because I think Wrestling Spirit is the one where we've actually done like the matches for.
Yeah, it was done like tournaments and that kind of stuff.
They last a while. I'll say that.
Oh my gosh!
Imperium, Arena of Death, Arcadia, Guild of Heroes. I don't think you've
never played any of those.
Fast Break, Pro Basketball.
I feel like I've checked that one out before. I just don't remember.
I feel like I have that one on my Steam Workshop somewhere.
Yeah.
Steam Library. More Fast Break. There's another Bullbound College Football. That was the other one.
I played that one.
So I have not played that one. I wanted to play it with Chris. So yeah, a little bit more on how this affiliate. Or what'd you say? What were you saying?
I said I played it because I was hoping that there was a modern football mod for it, and I didn't find one.
So a little bit on this affiliate status here. So if you use my link, which will be in the description down below, that helps me out. Also helps GDS out. Giving that free publicity out there. Well, not free publicity if we get the affiliate link through it. But it helps me out. I get a little bit of the portion. They get some of the portion. You get a cool game and whatnot. The other cool thing though with this affiliate link compared to some other affiliate links, because not all of them are the same in this, that there are discounts from here and there. This video is coming out on this Friday, and I've been wanting to give you guys the full heads up a week in advance because next Friday there's going to be a Black Friday sale.
Are you allowed to say this?
I am allowed to say this. Yeah, they will.
Okay.
It's in here. I'm
trying to cover your ass.
We will do on the bottom. We will be doing a pretty big Black Friday sale starting this Friday. So when this video drops, so it'd be a good idea to have them on your channel ready to go by then, and that's gonna have the affiliate code right there. But yeah, so you guys can save some money, get some cool games. Like I said, I could not recommend TW 2016 anymore for just all the fun. Of course, Comic Book Hero is great too. Wrestling Spirit. If you want a crazy GM mode, go TW. If you want to play as a wrestler, goes Wrestling Spirit. If you WMMA.
If you want to
be Dana White, or you want to take down Dana White, go with WMA. The other ones I can't speak too highly of because I just never played them. Comic Book Hero, if you want to be Spider-Man and you want to get your butt whooped by Venom because you found out that you're Peter Parker, go with that. You can't be the villains, but you can be some really crazy superheroes, actually. Like, I think I was like Scarlet Spider one time. Or
you can make your own hero.
You can make your own hero, too,
you can make your own hero in the Marvelverse. It's insane.
Yeah. So let's take it back to TW 2016 a little bit here at the...
There's a conversation you shot to me earlier that I really touch upon because I like...
Which one?
The one about... Who is your favorite person to book with?
So we'll start there.
And then we'll lead to the other one.
Yeah. You want me to start or you want to start?
I mean, you can start.
So...
I have a wholesome answer.
Wow.
Okay.
I think if I had to pick my favorite person to book TW with, and this is kind of a curveball actually. I would say Lenny. Now you're probably
Okay.
like, why Lenny over Chris, you, Rainey,
No, I
everybody,
slightly understand it.
or all the other hundreds of people, Connor.
He's
And,
a very creative human being.
Lenny is extremely creative. Maybe more creative than he is allowed or portrayed in the
It
real
all
in the real
becomes,
wrestling world.
for the most part, it's all sexual innuendo, but like,
That too, yes. You gotta you gotta find the diamond in the rough there. But like he's more creative here than he's probably allowed to be or can be with his actual wrestling career.
Mhm.
I don't know who he is as a wrestler. That's just beyond me. Wink, wink, nudge, nudge for anybody who's followed this channel and seen the video that's unlisted now. But
They don't know won't hurt them.
they don't know.
Keep it kayfabe. Keep it
Keep the
kayfabe.
kayfabe. But I think it's because he does understand the game mechanics, and it's very much of like, all right, so we're gonna do this match, and then we're gonna have a 5-minute commercial break, and then after that, Nia Jax is gonna go out there and she's gonna start flirting with Byron Saxton, and we're gonna loop that all together in with our network special of Ride Along, so it brings people back into our network from our TV. And it's like the game. That's not how the game works, but like let's just go with it. Like
Yeah, why not?
And I remember there was a time, Ryan Naughton's another like low key favorite one that I had a lot of good memories playing WCW versus WWF on, which is probably like a bigger like series when people talk about, because there's not many like really big brand warfare multiplayer series that lasted probably as long as that one did, because
Oh my
that one
gosh.
might have lasted too long, honestly. But we did take it, like, I believe a couple, like, at least 2 years past. Like, we got to the
Oh,
point where WCW
I remember that. It
survived.
was a good series.
Or
Your
actually,
computer came out.
I think it was like 99 or 98, but we took it like 2000, 2001. I don't know if we got past 2001 when they were supposed to die. But
I don't think.
we got like Camp WCW. Like, we got some really wacky ones. But with Lenny, I know we were doing the WCW one also, like if they would have survived with Eric Bischoff, and collectively between everybody, I think Lenny was also really fun with his opinions on how like we should do things, and we just had a lot of fun with it. I think that's that's maybe wrestling in the real world too, is like when you just acknowledge that wrestling is wacky and you get into it, like Conan, like the OGs with Eddie Kingston, and then the original or LAX with Conan. They had like a little gang war on Impact for like months, and it all culminated in a child getting hit by a car. Like, and then I remember I was watching Impact one time with my uncle, and he looked at the Chris brothers, and he asked if they were Amish, and I was like, no, and I had to like define the storyline of OVE and LAX and try to justify like the heel turn of OVE with Sami Callihan when LAX would be the more justified heels, but now Conan's like, oh, you're like, I like Conan now, so it's like trying to like justify like all these turns in wrestling is really fun too, to people's, and just wrestling's wacky, dude. But who would be your all-time favorite person to book with?
My nice little wholesome answer is gonna be you.
Oh man. Okay. Well, a reason why, and then why like someone else, because I can't just have you say me.
I mean,
Just like I couldn't say you. Like I couldn't. Like I had to be like, well,
so
Faber. Like, had like Shane. I like we booked.
no, so we the amount of saves we had is too many that I like to admit. But when we find a good save, we're glued to that save for a while.
Yeah.
And you're the reason I have TEW in terms of like why I know it exists.
Hopefully
And I
that's a
mean, you
good
put me
thing.
over in Best of the Bookers, so
I don't know if it puts you over. I mean, you
the
won the
game put me
tournament.
over. I put me over. I
Yeah.
didn't need anybody. But no, other than you, it'd probably be Cole.
Hmm.
I know Cole doesn't really play very often,
That's true. He's
but
a version behind. So
when he when he does, he usually only plays like the older stuff, but
mhm.
he's very good at like giving information on stuff like the Golden Age. I'm clueless on the Golden Age, so I'll just be booking and we'll be working together in our car. We'll be like, oh yeah, this guy did this. This guy won the world title in '74, and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So he's just very educated, and it really works when you're
Everything
booking.
ties in.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I guess we got to jump into this one now. Who would do you want me to go first or
Leave that one.
a what?
The conversation I wanted to have, we're just gonna leave that one out.
Um, you want me to go first or you want to go first?
I mean,
I guess I'll go first.
it depends. How long of a rant can we make
We
this?
got time. We got time.
Right. I'll let you go first
Yeah, I guess I'll
again.
go first. So my least favorite person of booking with, of all the times that we have booked TW together, um, I really gotta think about this one a little bit.
I don't.
That's the problem.
Because I got a bunch of names just popping up. You want me to go so you can get those names in your head?
No, I wanna go first because I know you're gonna take a bit on this one.
I'm gonna have to write the names down so I remember.
Yeah, like because I'm just
Like,
gonna
hold
sit
on,
here
give
for
me
a
a
quick
minute.
second and just kind of think about all the people, how we've booked, how they've played. I think the key thing of why I'm picking this is the longevity and maybe the sporadicness of returning to a save or whatnot.
Yeah.
Um, for me, it's probably gotta be Mia, and
Okay.
I don't want this to be too much of a shot,
No, I'm shooting.
but our brand split with Raw, SmackDown, and the unnecessary ECW probably was one of our most viewed and potentially successful series. Um, and by statistics, it actually is more successful than I believe. Or don't quote me on this one. It might not actually be, but I think it might be more successful than the WCW versus WWF. I have to look at statistics. I don't think it is though, but it is a big competitor for it with the amount of like how long it's lasted. The reason I say probably my least favorite is because of the amount of arguments that stemmed from it and wonderful quotes we have, such as "dumb bookers make dumb decisions" and "drain the swamp." Um, and the amount of times we had to go through like replacement general managers. I mean, there was a time where Malin was running the show and Shinsuke was in a romper, and that was great. I mean, like people might be like, "That's ridiculous." Shinsuke Nakamura in a romper, and you don't think it's ridiculous what he's doing to AJ Styles every week? Like this is a guy who kicked some major butt in Japan, and now he's just punching balls in SmackDown every week. So I mean, like we just had to embrace the wackiness, and that was way before Shinsuke was doing all this. So we kind of predicted it, okay? Or we might be the cause of it. I know there's that rumor of like Impact is watching our TEW stuff because we do something, and then a couple weeks later, like they would do it also, and it's like we see you, we see you.
We ain't blind all the way.
Yeah, we
There's
see.
most of
Yeah,
us.
either we're calling this really good down the road, or someone's like, let's take that and just roll with it. So I mean, we did the Conan thing before, the kid got ran over with the car. So I mean, like, it wouldn't surprise me, like some crazy stuff. But yeah, I gotta throw Mia under the bus there for you know, probably killing that series. Like I know after a while, like we did all kind of get burned out of it.
Yeah,
But in terms of going through managers for
having to,
SmackDown was really hard.
having to basically wipe rosters and the redraft that happened.
The redraft was the big problem because Raw and SmackDown ECW already had a very big roster. So I think we had to just throw some people down in NXT. But yeah, that series in particular was also really good with like Rick Victor, Rusev, the Broken Farm.
Oh my god,
Like we got
that
some.
was the love for Dash Wilder began.
Dash Wilder's push. We got some.
We got a lot of crazy stuff.
Actually, I don't know if we got 100. We might have got 100. It was like
I think for the longest time, I just remember Brian and I were ruining you guys.
I remember Conor McGregor and Dean Ambrose was like, if not the last.
They got a 100.
One of the last episodes, and like,
or at least like they got like high 90s.
It was like a Texas death match, and like at that point,
Yeah.
I was like, this is a match I'd actually like to see in real life, you know, because I remember how bad Ambrose and Brock was, and so I'm like, well, maybe if Ambrose had someone more his size, it would go a much different way.
Yeah.
In terms of a brawl. So, all right, your turn. What do you got?
Well, I'm happy you started with that because that's my first answer. My number one is Mia.
Oh, you have a list.
I have a list of.
You just made
I
that
have a list. I have a list of 5, and they all have their own reason.
All right. I hope I'm
so
on
with
that list.
Mia, every single time you're playing a save, it's always a brand split.
That's true. Yeah.
It's the same. It's always Ruthless Aggression, Attitude Era, or it's Modern Day, and it's always a brand split. And then there was the time she booked New Japan, and that was horseshit, where it was just a mess. Nobody enjoyed it, and there were countless times I called her out. Dumb bookers making dumb decisions. Number 2, Travis. And I'm not saying it because he's a bad booker. In terms of booking, I think Travis is really good. In terms of the time it takes for him to book, that's a different story.
That's true, yeah. We'd be sitting there for a while. I think always that initial first day, like if we could get past that.
The first day is always the longest day for everybody. But for Travis, it's always a very long day. Every day. And booking is just, it takes forever. Now, next is kind of an iffy one. I wasn't sure if I was going to put him on the list, but I was like, screw it. Let's find out how this goes. Nate. And I think it's more so it's kind of like the same concept of Mia, but he's more open to other things. But it always leads into everything ending the same way, where he likes to get into arguments over, I want this guy.
Yeah.
Or I'm going to take this guy, so you can't have him. And it seems like there's always some sort of argument in that aspect of fighting over who's getting who. And up next, Shane. So, Shane's booking is just consistently marking out over somebody that isn't worth it, I guess. In terms of, I don't try to crap on the save because it's a good save, but he's got an ECW save going, and he's been really in other saves in the past. Everything, his big 2 are always Tommy End and Pete Dunne.
I knew Pete Dunne had to be in there. Honestly, I was like, where
he was going. He always every save. You know this for a fact. Yeah. Pete Dunne is, if not the first world champion, he's one of the first 5 and the longest reigning world champions.
Now, I get this question sometimes, like, why don't I do more videos with, well, not anymore, because I haven't done TW in a long time, but it was like, why
Yeah.
don't I do more TW videos with, like, other YouTubers? And mostly it's time restraint, because I know my friends would just sit on Skype and play it all day. Now we're on Discord, so the group's kind of divided already. But, like, TW is a game that has made and broken some friendships. I'm just going to
Oh
be
my
completely honest with you.
gosh.
If you have a group of friends, you really need to test that limit by sitting down with them and be like, hey, how would you book Monday Night Raw? And then
And then call them out for all their bad
you'll
decisions.
have you have someone who's like, well, let's cut it to 2 hours. Then you'll have someone who's like, well, let's bring in NXT. Then you have someone who's like, let's bring in the Bullet Club. Then you have someone who's like, I think we're gonna have a 30-minute start off promo. Like we get some very very interesting things. For me to book it, I always try to do a 10-minute segment and then kick off maybe 15-minute match, then 5-minute segments for segments up until the last one is a 10-minute segment again, and then sporadically like main event and the main event and the first match always got to be like 15 maybe 20 minutes, but then all throughout it might be like 10 to 15. It just jumps around there. Yeah, I'm gonna say first and last or 20 minutes because I try to have it in that like 5-minute interval. But that's just how I book there, and people's differences on who they want to push or fire or call up or stuff like that.
No. I do have one
Not
more.
everybody agrees. Yeah.
So I feel like I'm gonna get a message after this is uploaded for them.
If they watch it.
They're gonna watch it.
Okay.
And I know I'm going to get a message. I love you, buddy, but it's Chris.
Oh, all right.
So, the reason it's Chris is because he's very opinionated when it comes to booking.
All right.
I'm walking a fine line.
I like how you say just booking, but all right. I wonder where this one's gonna go.
No, so like he's got a lot of open opinions on who needs to be at the top, and in terms of I don't usually butt into when you and him were booking, doing the brand split.
Yeah.
But it seemed like he was running Raw more than you were Raw.
I got some input on it.
You got some input.
But when stuff kind of just like...
You were the commissioner to his GM.
I was the one who was able to make it work, but he was the one who was like, all right, let's get this working. I'm like, all right, Rick Victor's world champ. I can do it. You
There's
want me to
also
do it. It's gonna be hard, but we can get it done. Like, give me 2-3 months. Rick Victor will go from being the guy in the Ascension with the weird facial hair to, WWE World Champion. And we
For
made
me,
it happen. So
I don't like putting comedy where comedy doesn't belong.
yeah.
Chris is the complete opposite.
Yeah, I see what you mean. Yeah, with Vigoverse.
Rick Victor.
Yeah.
Whoever the announcer guy is, I can't think of his name.
Oh, are you talking about the Tom Phillips and
Yeah, the Tom Phillips storyline.
and Marley?
That story.
I think it was Tom Phillips. It might have been
No, it was Tom Phillips. It was Tom Phillips.
Okay.
We
had a great thing going with I think it was we had Kane who was doing the mayor thing, I believe. And then I think Noam Dar was there somewhere. All I remember is that there was a part where like
oh my god, Noam Dar had a lot to do.
One person was on one brand and then one person was on another brand.
So they
only got to see each other on like pay-per-views when they went on.
It was Mayor Glenn.
Yeah.
And somebody.
We gotta look through that. That series. It was. And we did all 3 episodes, all 3 bookings in one like hour long. A lot of yelling.
the last comment I have about the comedy thing
Yeah,
is you mentioned this earlier. Bagul.
but
I'm not saying it like Bagul,
it was
but
out of nowhere.
Bagul was over. I don't want to say over exaggerated, but he was like over presented.
If there is something that needs to be done in the world of wrestling when it comes to booking it, I will do it and I will make it work.
I have
That
nothing
doesn't
wrong
mean
with
it
like
should be
comedy.
done, but it might not. Like Heath Slater is world champion. Maybe it shouldn't be done. Maybe he shouldn't beat Brock Lesnar, but
we're gonna do it.
If you need me to, I can get it done. Just gonna
Those are my
involve a lot of
five, and
loopholes.
I'm anticipating messages after this is uploaded.
Any TW questions?
There are at least 2 people that I listed watch your video.
Any TW questions for me?
No, because everything you've done, I've done and more.
That's true. But to wrap up with this podcast here, I don't know what's next. I'd love to do a TW series, sit down once a week and play it aside from everything else that floods this channel as usual. However, I don't know. We gotta sort of find a save that we love and can just go with it. I don't think it'll be WWE. I will think it'll be modern day. I don't think we'll go back in time. But I don't know. That's for maybe Zach
We'll find
and
out.
some friends to decide. It'll definitely only be one day a week, unless
I won't
maybe.
give him an ultimatum. I'm letting him know right now. I'm gonna be a right.
Oh, he's like, we're gonna do this, but yeah. So stay tuned, everybody. Good having you again, Zach.
It was a pleasure.
Definitely sit down talking about TW and a lot of great memories and people we've booked with and the GDS affiliate status that I'm really glad to have, an upcoming Black Friday sale. But yeah, everybody will see you guys next time. Keep it safe.